Hello and welcome. Welcome to Home for the Holidays from the Irish Classical Theatre Company. My name is Brian Mysliwy, and you may remember me from some performances at the Irish Classical, such as La Bête and The Night Alive. So before we begin, I just wanted to sincerely say thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. I'm thrilled to see you. And to be honest with you, I'm thrilled to have something to do. When I was asked to be a part of this, I was overwhelmed. I was so excited to have something to be excited about. This is such a weird time that we're in. I got up. I went shopping for a new sweater. I put on a pair of pants. Or did I? Now, when Kate asked me to be a part of Home for the Holidays, she didn't really specify what holidays we were talking about. I mean, I know there's a couple of holidays in the month of December that everybody knows about, and but being the consummate professional that I am, I did some internet research. And what I found out is, interestingly, there are a number of holidays that you could be celebrating in the month of December, such as Saturday, December 5th, National Rhubarb Vodka Day. Sunday, December 6th, National Gazpacho Day. December 10th, the Dewey Decimal System Day. December 12th, National Ding-a-ling Day. That one's for you, Vincent. December 14th, National Bouillabaisse Day. Tuesday, December 15th, National Wear Your Pearls Day. December 16th, National Chocolate Covered Anything Day. December 18th, National Roast Suckling Pig Day. And, of course, Sunday, December 27th, National Fruitcake Day. So whatever holiday that you're celebrating, we hope that it's happy, healthy, and safe. Now, before we begin, I just wanted to note that during the performance, we'd ask you to please turn your cell phones off and unwrap your candies now. Actually, never mind. You can do anything you want because you're at home and we're at home. And what we wanted to do is spread some holiday cheer from our home to yours. And we're going to begin with a performance by Joe Donohue and Brandon Barry from Child's Christmas in Wales last year, Joy to the World.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. To the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. Wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love.
Joe Donohue Brandon Barry, that was wonderful. Joy to the world. Love those traditional carols. Get you right in the holiday spirit. Now, I am thrilled to introduce co-founder and ICTC legend, Josephine Hogan, reading a charming selection of holiday poems.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to share with you Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by one of my favourite poets, Mr. Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. This next one is entitled simply Mistletoe, and it's by Walter Delamere. Sitting under the mistletoe, pale green fairy mistletoe, one last candle burning low, all the sleepy dancers gone, just one candle burning on. Shadows lurking everywhere. Someone came and kissed me there. Tired I was, my head would go nodding under the mistletoe, pale green fairy mistletoe. No footsteps came, no voice, but only, just as I sat there, sleepy, lonely, stooped in the still and shadowing air, lips unseen, and kissed me there. This next one is entitled All I Want for Christmas, and it's by Carolyn Tyson. All I want for Christmas is a bit of peace and quiet. I don't want tips on hairstyles or on little black dress diets, or how to stuff a turkey with some chestnut puree stuff. There's one whole month to go yet, and I've effing had enough. And then there's all the shopping, traipsing round the decked out malls, and frosty effing snowman playing drives me halfway up the walls. The kids all throwing tantrums, Mums just let them scream at will. If I was Father Christmas, rest assured they'd all get nil. All I want for Christmas is some turkey for my dinner. Add some sprouts and potatoes, and to me you have a winner. But Martha keeps on cropping up in every bloody place. The newspaper, the TV, when I sleep I see her face. She stuffs a turkey with a goose. In that, she adds some pheasants. Meanwhile, she shows me how and when to wrap my presents. And Martha keeps harping on about how to glaze my carrots. I'm quite surprised we've not been taught to marinate some parrots. All I want for Christmas are some memories of old, when snowflakes fluttered silently in frosty skies so cold, when Santa's sleigh flew past the moon among the stars so bright, and Sis and I could hear his bells as he came on Christmas night. Give me back my Christmas with traditions I remember. Don't overload me with that stuff from halfway through September. Give the kids a Christmas of a kind you cannot buy, and let them hear old Rudolph's bells as Santa's sleigh flies by. And I'd like to finish with an old Irish Christmas blessing. May you be blessed with the spirit of the season, which is peace, the gladness of the season, which is hope, and the heart of the season, which is love. Happy holidays to you all.
Josephine Hogan. Thank you, Joe. That was beautiful. It's amazing to hear those words and that beautiful voice. You know, the holidays for many of us are a time for deep personal reflection and a time to ask questions of ourselves. Questions like, how does a gingerbread man stay warm in his bed with a cookie sheet? How much does Santa's sleigh cost? Well, nothing, because it's on the house. And, of course, what's the difference between a Christmas alphabet and an ordinary alphabet? Well, a Christmas alphabet has no L. Next up, we have another beautiful song from Joe Donohue and Brandon Barry, followed by my friend and ICTC co-founder, artistic director emeritus, and master of the Memetian arts, Vincent O'Neill, reading from A Child's Christmas in Wales, an ICTC favorite. And after that, another special treat.
Frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would give a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. What can I give him? Give my heart. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago.
Well, firstly, a warm welcome to all our friends and great supporters of Irish classical out there, and thank you for joining us for this holiday celebration. I'd like to read some excerpts from a celebrated poem by Dylan Thomas, the great Welsh poet, where he recounts some memories of when he was a child on a particularly snowy Christmas near Swansea in Wales. Dylan Thomas's A Child's Christmas in Wales. One Christmas was so much like another in those years around the Seatown corner now that I can never remember whether it snowed for 6 days and 6 nights when I was 12 or whether it snowed for 12 days and 12 nights when I was 6. All the Christmases rolled down towards the two-tongued sea, like a cold and headlong moon bundling down the sky that was our street. And they stop at the rim of the ice-edged, fish-wreathing waves, and I plunge my hands in the snow and bring out whatever I can find. In goes my hand into that wool-white, bell-tongued ball of holidays resting at the rim of the carol-singing sea, and out comes Mrs. Prothero and the firemen. It was on the afternoon of Christmas Eve, and I was in Mrs. Prothero's garden waiting for cats with her son Jim. It was snowing. It was always snowing at Christmas. December in my memory is as white as Lapland, though there were no reindeers, but there were cats. Patient, cold and callous, our hands wrapped in socks, we waited to snowball the cats. Sleek and long as jaguars and horrible whiskered, spitting and snarling, they would slink and sidle over the white back garden walls. And the lynx-eyed hunters, Jim and I, would hurl our deadly snowballs at the green of their eyes. The wise cats never appeared. We were so still, Eskimo-footed Arctic marksmen in the muffling silence of the eternal snows, eternal ever since Wednesday, that we never heard Mrs. Prothero's first cry from her igloo at the bottom of the garden. But soon the voice grew louder. "Fire!" cried Mrs. Prothero, and she beat the dinner gong. And we ran down the garden with the snowballs in our arms towards the house, and smoke indeed was pouring out of the dining room. This was better than all the cats and whales standing on a wall in a row. Bounded into the house, laden with snowballs, and stopped at the open door of the smoke-filled room. Something was burning, all right. Perhaps it was Mr. Prothero, who always slept there after dinner with a newspaper over his face. But he was standing in the middle of the room saying, "A fine Christmas," and smacking at the smoke with the slipper. "Call the fire brigade," cries Mrs. Prothero as she beats her gong. "They won't be there," said Mr. Prothero. "It's Christmas." There was no fire to be seen, only clouds of smoke, and Mr. Prothero standing in the middle of them, waving a slipper as though he were conducting. "Do something," he said. So we threw our snowballs at the smoke. I think we missed Mr. Prothero and ran out of the house to the telephone box. "Let's call the police as well," Jim said, "and the ambulance, and Ernie Jenkins. He likes fires." But we only called the fire brigade, and soon the fire engine came, and 3 tall men in helmets brought a hose into the house, and Mr. Prothero got out just in time before they turned it on. Nobody could have had a noisier Christmas Eve. Years and years ago, when I was a boy, when there were wolves in Wales and birds the colour of red flannel petticoats, when we sang all night and day before the motor car, before the wheel, it snowed and it snowed. But here, a small boy says, "It snowed last year too. I made a snowman and my brother knocked it down, and I knocked my brother down, and then we had tea." But that was not the same snow, I say. Our snow grew overnight on the roofs of the houses and settled on the postman opening the gate. Were there postmen then too? With sprinkling eyes and wind-cherried noses, on frozen feet that crunched up to the doors and mittened on them manfully. They were just ordinary postmen, fond of walking and dogs and Christmas and snow. They knocked on the door with blue knuckles, and then they stood on the white welcome mat and huffed and puffed, making ghosts with their breath, and jogged from foot to foot like small boys wanting to go out. And then the presents. And then the presents. The coal postman, with a rose on his button nose, tingled down the tea-tray slithered run of the chilly glinting hill. He wagged his bag, dizzily turned the corner on one foot, and by God, he was gone. Get back to the presents. There were the useful presents, engulfing mufflers and mittens, zebra scarves, bunny-suited busbies, and balaclavas for victims of head-shrinking tribes. From aunts, who always wore wool next to the skin, there were rasping vests that made you wonder why the aunts had any skin left at all. And pictureless books in which small boys, though warned with quotations not to, would skate on Farmer Giles's pond and did, and drowned. Go on to the useless presents. Bags of moist and many-coloured jelly babies, and a false nose, and a tram conductor's cap, and a machine that punched tickets and rang a bell, never a catapult. And a painting book in which I could make the grass, the trees, the sea, and the animals any colour I wished. And toffee, fudge, and all sorts, crunches, crackles, humbugs, marzipan, and butter Welsh for the Welsh. And troops of bright tin soldiers who, if they could not fight, could always run. And a whistle to make the dogs bark. Then it was breakfast under the balloons. Were there uncles, like in our house? There were always uncles at Christmas. And on Christmas morning, mistletoe hung from the gas brackets in all the front parlours. There was sherry, walnuts, bottled beer, and crackers by the dessert spoons. And cats, in their furabouts, watched the fire. Some few large men in front parlours, uncles almost certainly, trying their new cigars, holding them out judiciously at arm's length, returning them to their mouths, coughing, then holding them out again and waiting for the explosion. And some few small aunts, not wanted in the kitchen, nor anywhere else for that matter, sat on the very edge of their chairs, poised and brittle, afraid to break, like faded cups and saucers. Then I would be slapdashing home, the gravy smell of the dinners of others, the brandy, the pudding, and the mince coiling up to my nostrils. For dinner, we had turkey and blazing pudding, and after dinner, the uncles sat in front of the fire, loosened all their buttons, put their large, moist hands over their watch chains, groaned a little, and slept. Auntie Bessie, who had already been frightened twice by a clockwork mouse, whimpered at the sideboard and had some elderberry wine. The dog was sick. Auntie Dosie had to have 3 aspirins, but Auntie Hannah, who liked port, stood in the middle of the snowbound backyard, singing like a big-bosomed thrush. I would blow up balloons to see how big they would blow up to, and when they burst, which they all did, the uncles jumped and rumbled. In the rich and heavy afternoon, the snow descending, I would sit among festoons and Chinese lanterns and nibble dates. Or I would go out into the white world to call on Jim and Dan and Jack and to pad through the still streets. And as we passed Mr. Daniel's house, let's post Mr. Daniel a snowball through his letterbox. Let's write things in the snow. Let's write, Mr. Daniel looks like a spaniel all over his lawn. A tea. The recovered uncles will be jolly. And Auntie Hannah laced her tea with rum because it was only once a year. Always on Christmas night, there was music. An uncle played the fiddle and a cousin sang. It was very warm in the little house. Auntie Hannah, who'd got on to the parsnip wine, sang a song in which she said her heart was like a bird's nest. And everybody laughed. Then I went to bed. Looking through my bedroom window, out into the moonlight, the unending smoke-coloured snow. I could see the lights in the windows of all the other houses on our hill, and hear the music rising from them up the long, steady falling night. I turned the gas down. I got into bed. I said some words to the close and holy darkness. Then I slept. Thank you all, and a very happy holiday season. God bless you.
O holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, our weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices. Come night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night divine. Truly taught to love one another, His law is love, and His message is peace. Chains shall He break, for the captive is our brother, and in His name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we with all our hearts. We praise His holy name. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices. Come night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night divine.
Happy holidays, everyone. And we wish you many happy returns in our coming new year.
Many happy returns indeed. Thank you, Anthony. That was wonderful. You may remember Anthony as Hamlet and as the Golden Boy. And now I am thrilled to introduce to you another ICTC favorite, Aleks Malejs. She will be performing for you a reading from The Dubliners by James Joyce, which was the basis of the show The Dead, produced by ICTC.
A few light taps upon the pane made him turn to the window. It had begun to snow again. He watched sleepily the flakes, silver and dark, falling obliquely against the lamplight. The time had come for him to set out on his journey westward. Yes, the newspapers were right. Snow was general all over Ireland. It was falling on every part of the dark central plain, on the treeless hills, falling softly upon the bog of Allen, and further westward, softly falling into the dark, mutinous Shannon waves. It was falling, too, upon every part of the lonely churchyard on the hill where Michael Fury lay buried. It lay thickly drifted on the crooked crosses and headstones, on the spears of the little gate, on the barren thorns. His soul swooned slowly as he heard the snow falling faintly through the universe and faintly falling, like the descent of their last end, upon all the living and the dead.
Three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning. Oh, they sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. They sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day in the morning. On earth shall ring on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day, and all the bells on earth shall ring on Christmas Day in the morning. Then let us all rejoice again on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day, and let us all rejoice again on Christmas Day in the morning. Three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning.
Another heartwarming holiday song. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Brandon. And thank you. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your continued support of Irish Classical. Now, if you are able, we would encourage you to visit ICTC's website and make a donation to help support the theater and to help support digital programming like this, to help keep us safe and keep us entertained until we can all get together in that wonderful space on Main Street in Buffalo together. So, from all of us here at Irish Classical, thank you so much, and have a happy, healthy holiday.